I wish I could tell you that what I saw that night was a misunderstanding, that I had blinked too fast, or imagined it out of boredom. But I didn't. Because some moments don't just stay in your memory, they settle into your bones and refuse to leave. That night, I was driving home through a quiet street in Seattle. The kind of street where nothing ever happens, where every house looks perfect from the outside. And yet, something made me slow down. Maybe it was instinct. Or maybe, deep down, I already knew something wasn't right. I parked across the street from the Bienvenidos house, a place I had known almost my entire life. Their lights were still on. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual was what I saw through the window. Chloe Bennett was curled up on the couch, right next to Daniel. Closer than she should have been. Her head rested against his chest, his hand gently wrapped around hers. And they looked peaceful. Comfortable, like nothing in the world was wrong. That's what made it worse. Because what I was looking at wasn't just inappropriate, it was something deeper, something broken, and I knew, right then and there, this wasn't going to end well. My name is Lily Morgan. I'm 28 years old, and I've known the Bennett family for as long as I can remember. Our mothers were friends long before we were born, which meant I basically grew up in their house. I saw everything, or at least, I thought I did. Chloe wasn't just another girl in the neighborhood. She had a presence, the kind that pulled attention without asking for it, confidence, bold, always in control. Even as a teenager, she carried herself like someone who had already figured out the world, and decided she didn't need to follow its rules. People were drawn to her, and honestly, some were intimidated by her. But there was one thing everyone agreed on: Chloe Bennett always got what she wanted. Always. Evelyn, her mother, adored her. She used to call her my miracle. Chloe was born later in life, after years of trying. So when she finally came along, she became the center of everything. Every decision, every plan, every sacrifice, it all revolved around her. And Chloe knew it. She didn't just receive that love, she expected it. Daniel, her stepfather, came into the picture when Chloe was about 12. At first, everything seemed normal. He was calm, responsible, the kind of man people trusted easily. He treated Evelyn well. He'd provided stability. And for years, that's all I saw. A normal family. Or at least, something close to it. But things started changing when Chloe turned 18. It wasn't sudden, it was subtle. The kind of change you notice only when you look back later. At first, it was just small things. The way Chloe would joke with Daniel a little too comfortably. The way she'd sit close to him, lingering conversations longer than necessary. I told myself it meant nothing. Families can be close, right? But then, I started noticing something else. Daniel's reactions. The way he laughed at everything she said, even when it wasn't funny. The way his attention followed her around the room. The way his silence sometimes felt heavy. Uncomfortable. Like he was trying not to think something he shouldn't. That's when the uneasiness began. I remember one evening very clearly. We were all sitting at the dinner table. Evelyn was talking about her bakery, excited about a new order. Chloe wasn't really listening. Instead, she was focused on Daniel. Asking him questions, teasing him, watching him. And then, she said something that made the entire table go quiet. Not inappropriate, not obvious, but something in her tone, in the way she said it, felt deliberate, calculated. And Daniel, he didn't shut it down, he just smiled. That was the moment I realized this wasn't one-sided. After that, it became harder to ignore. Chloe started pushing boundaries. Not in obvious ways, but in ways that made you question your own judgment. She'd sit too close, speak too softly. Find reasons to be around him, constantly. And Daniel, at first, he resisted. You could see it. The hesitation, the discomfort. But slowly, that resistance started to fade. Evelyn, meanwhile, saw none of it. Or maybe, she trusted them too much to even consider it. She was busy. Running her business, managing the house. Believing everything was exactly how it should be, and that trust, that blind, unwavering trust was the one thing that would eventually destroy everything. I wish I had said something back then. I wish I had trusted my instincts instead of questioning them. But the truth is, some situations feel so wrong that your mind refuses to accept they're real, so you stay quiet. You watch, you wait, and you hope it stops on its own. But it didn't, because by the time I realized how far things had gone, it was already too late. And what started as something subtle was about to turn into something no one could ignore. There's a moment, in every story like this, when denial dies, when the quiet discomfort you've been ignoring finally turns into something undeniable. For me, that moment came on a Sunday afternoon. I remember it too clearly. It was one of those slow, ordinary Sundays. The kind where nothing is supposed to go wrong. Families gather. Phones stay silent. Life feels predictable. I had stopped by the house to drop off a pie my mom had made for Evelyn. It was routine. Familiar. Safe. At least, it was supposed to be. When I rang the doorbell, no one answered. That was unusual. Evelyn was always home around that time. Always. I knocked again. Still, nothing. And that's when something inside me shifted. A feeling I couldn't explain. So, I did something I normally wouldn't do. I tried the door. Unlocked. The moment I stepped inside, the silence hit me. Not peaceful silence. The kind that feels heavy. Wrong. Evelyn. I called out, no response. Then I heard it. A quiet sound. Almost like a breath breaking. Coming from the kitchen. When I walked in, I saw her. Sitting at the table. Still in her church clothes. Completely still, except for her hands, which were trembling slightly. In front of her was a photo frame. An old family picture. The three of them smiling like nothing in the world could ever break them. I had seen that photo 100 times before. But in that moment, it looked like a lie. Evelyn. Primera said softly. She looked up at me. And I'll never forget her eyes. Red. Not from crying loudly. But from holding it all in. Didn't have to ask. She whispered. I already knew. My heart dropped. I didn't want to understand what she meant. But I did. Deep down, I already did. Without saying another word, she slowly pushed a folded piece of paper across the table toward me. I found it this morning, she said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes right before everything shatters. I hesitated before opening it. Part of me didn't want to know. But I read it anyway. And the moment I did, I wished I hadn't. It wasn't long, just a few lines. But it said, enough. Enough to confirm every fear I had buried. Enough to destroy everything this family once was. I couldn't speak. Couldn't even process what I had just read. It wasn't just betrayal. It was something deeper. Something that twisted everything we believed about love, trust, and family. Evelyn stood up slowly and walked to the sink. Her back facing me. I raised her, she said, quietly. I gave her everything. Her voice cracked slightly, but I never thought I'd lose her like this. Primera. Didn't. Primera. Didn't know what to say. There are moments in life where words feel useless. This was one of them. Then she turned back to me. And what I saw in her expression wasn't anger. It wasn't even a heartbreak. It was something far worse. Acceptance. I'm leaving, she said. Just like that, no hesitation. No second thoughts. I can't stay here. Not after this. And she, single quotes. Within minutes, she packed a small bag. No confrontation, no dramatic scene, no final words. She just left. Like someone quietly walking away from a life that no longer belonged to her. Later, that day I saw Chloe. And I wish I could tell you she was upset. That she regretted everything. That she looked even slightly shaken. But she didn't. She was sitting in the living room, calm, relaxed, painting her nails like it was any other day. Mom left, I said, unable to hide the tension in my voice. She glanced up at me and smiled. Took her long enough, she replied. I felt something inside me snap. How can you say that? I asked. But she just leaned back, completely unfazed. She was always in the way, Chloe said casually. She never really understood me. I stared at her, trying to find even a trace of guilt. But there was none. Only certainty. And Daniel? I asked carefully. Her expression shifted slightly, not defensive. Not ashamed, just confident. He understands me, she said. More than anyone ever has. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This isn't understood, I said quietly. This is destruction. For a brief moment, hasta second, I thought I saw something flicker in her eyes. But it disappeared just as quickly, replaced by that same calm certainty. People always judge what they don't understand, she said. I didn't argue anymore. There was no point. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Chloe didn't think she was doing anything wrong. And Daniel, he didn't stop, didn't fix it, didn't walk away. Instead, he chose to stay. And that's when everything changed. Because once the truth is out, there's no going back. What followed wasn't hidden anymore. They stopped pretending. Stopped caring about who noticed, who whispered, who judged. And slowly, the outside world began to notice too. Rumors spread. Questions were asked. People started connecting dots, and when they did, everything spiraled. Fast. But even then, even with the world watching, they didn't stop. And deep down, this wasn't the end. Not even close. Because stories like this, they don't end quietly. People think consequences arrive, like a storm. Loud, suddenly, impossible to ignore. But that's not how it happened. Not tease time for the Bennets. It came quietly. Slowly, like something rotting from the inside, until there was nothing left to hold it together. At first, it was just whispers. Neighbors talking behind closed doors. Strangers staring a little too long. Friends suddenly becoming distant. Seattle isn't a small town. But trust me, news like tease, it travels fast. People notice the changes. Chloe and Daniel go out together, too often. The way they spoke to each other. The way boundaries that should have existed were completely gone. Then came the questions, then the rumors, and finally, the truth. It didn't explode overnight. It spread. Like a stain you can't wash out. Someone posted something online. No names at first. Just hints. Clues. A story that sounded too disturbing to be real. But it was. And once people started connecting the dots, there was no stopping it. Suddenly, everyone knew, or at least, they thought they did, and that was enough. Daniel lost his job quietly. No big announcement, just gone. Chloe stopped showing up to classes. Then eventually, she disappeared from campus altogether. The house that once felt warm and full of life turned into something else entirely. The lights stayed off more often. The curtains stayed closed. And the people inside stopped being part of the world outside. I told myself I was done watching, that I didn't care anymore. But the truth? I couldn't look away. Because part of me needed to know how something like this ends. And the answer is, it doesn't end the way people expect. One night, I found myself driving past their house again. Same street. Same silence. Same feeling in my chest. I parked across the road. I don't even know why. Maybe a habit. Maybe curiosity. Or maybe I just needed confirmation. The lights were on, and through the window, I saw them. Chloe is sitting close to Daniel, her head resting against him, his hand gently holding hers. And they looked happy. That was the part that haunted me the most. Not the scandal, not the rumors, not even the betrayal. It was the fact that they looked at peace. Like nothing had been lost. Like nothing had been destroyed. But can you be there? Because happiness is built on broken trust. Doesn't last. Didn't singly. A few weeks later, everything started to fall apart. Daniel changed first. People said he stopped going out. Stopped answering calls. Stopped being himself. He looked exhausted. Worn down. Like something was finally catching up to him. Because no matter how far you run from reality, it always finds you. Chloe tried to hold everything together. At least from the outside. Still posting online. Still pretending everything was fine. But it wasn't. Not anymore. The illusion was cracking. Then one morning, an ambulance showed up outside their house. That's when everyone knew something had gone very wrong. Daniel had collapsed, not gone. But close. Exhaustion. Stress. Too much of everything. He survived. But something inside him didn't. After that, everything went quiet. The house. The rumors. Even Chloe. They disappeared. No more posts. No more sightings. No more pretending. Just silence. A few months later, I went to visit Evelyn. She had moved on. Not completely. Maybe not perfectly. But she was rebuilding. A small house. A quiet life. A garden. In the backyard, she looked different. Stronger. Like someone who had lost everything and decided to keep going anyway. They're gone, she told me. Her voice is calm. Steady. Double quotes. Daniel is getting help, she added. And Chloe. She paused. She's still trying to hold on to something that doesn't exist anymore. I didn't ask for more. Some answers don't bring peace. Before he left, she said something I never forget. Some people don't realize what they've destroyed until they're standing alone in it. And she was right. Because I saw Chloe one last time. It wasn't dramatic, no confrontation. No big moments. Just a passing glimpse. She looked different. Not confident. Not in control. Just lost. And for the first time, she didn't look like someone who had won. She looked like someone who finally understood the cost. I didn't stop to talk. I didn't need to. Because some stories don't need a final conversation. They end in silence. And some lessons come too late to change anything. I still think about that family, sometimes. What they were, what they became, because from the outside everything looked perfect, but behind closed doors, something was already breaking, and by the time anyone realized, there was nothing left to save. So if there's one thing this story teaches, it's this. Not everything that feels powerful is right. Not everything that feels real is worth the cost. And sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones who can destroy everything